making biscuits and honey butter. So my chef Jeffery Alexander, he taught it to our class, and he's like, this is his biscuit recipe. He won awards for it.
Oh.
So this is like the biscuit recipe.
And how's everything been in school?
It's been really good.
Really good.
Yes.
God.
I enjoy it a lot.
I know you happy, Robin.
I'm happy that she's happy.
Early on, you would show cupcakes and stuff that she would make. And that would be, she might have been 12, 11 or something. She was young.
It started kind of like when she was like 4 or 5 years old. My sister Paula would always be baking in the kitchen. Usually pies or something like that. And Alexandra would always go in the kitchen with her and help out. And, you know, she learned about measuring and
Wow.
tools and everything like that. I was just stunned that she stuck with it.
Breads we're learning. I have my formula.
Yeah, because you recently posted the challah bread. Did I pronounce it right?
Each knot in the challah bread means something different. Like I think one knot's for family, one knot's for wealth, and then you're supposed to save the last 2 knots for the people in the family who've moved on and like passed away. So that's why the braid is so crucial.
Right, right. What was the hardest part about it? Was the braiding?
Braiding.
It was.
Yes. Because in the middle of mine, I know I got lost because it's not your usual 6 strands of the dough, but you're only braiding 2 at a time. So you take, they're set up like this, and you're just switching it and then going like.
Oh my goodness.
And so in the middle of mine, when it gets towards the end, it gets very short, like the length. I got confused and I was like, I don't know which braid I'm at.
Oh. But did you pass?
Yes.
Was it good?
I did pass.
Now what you're doing is cutting it up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We learned a method in class called the rubbing method.
Mm-hmm.
So you use the rolling pin to thin out the butter, and then you cut
Okay.
it up with the bench blade.
Now after being in school, what do you say was one of the few things that you learned that was different than how you were making cakes and because basically you like baking, you want to stick with that. Okay.
I've only had 2 lab classes, which my first one was chocolates, and then now I'm in breads. After breads, I get to cakes, so.
And that's your jam.
That's what I'm excited for. I was really excited for breads too because I like to eat bread.
Right, right.
But I'm excited to start decorating cakes. And,
Right, right.
But this is just the intro to cakes, so I don't know how much I'm gonna be decorating at my own leisure.
Right. Now, I remember we talked about favorite shows or interesting shows.
The Great British Bake Off.
Yeah, wasn't that exciting?
I like that.
That was so exciting. She was good. She was kicking butt on there. And she was so humble, so sweet. But are there other cooking shows or anything else you watch?
I like Meat Chopped. I like Chopped. The Holiday Baking Championship.
Yeah.
I even like the Kids Baking Championship where all the little kids come on. I was like, I should have done that when I was little.
Yeah, they're really talented kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, I should have done that. I could have won.
Yeah, yeah. How much do they win? Do they win big money or?
It's either 10 or 25,000.
That's nice for a little kid. Yeah. That's pretty for a big kid.
For
that's
anybody.
pretty good, right?
Yeah, I'm semi-professional.
No, you're pretty as soon as you get paid.
Yes,
That means you're a professional.
So
you did have a job. That's what I'm saying.
My boss would order from me for her grandson's birthday. My old teacher would order from me for her Girl Scout troop. So I would make cupcakes and like cookies for them.
Wow, and how many? So you really know how to make a recipe larger? Yes. Like you know how to double it and all of that kind of stuff?
Yes.
Is there more to than just like if it calls for a cup of flour, it's more to it than just putting in 2 cups of flour?
When it's with cups and tablespoons, it's nothing more to it.
Okay.
When it's in grams, that's when
it gets a little confusing?
Yes.
So do you understand both? Does your brain switch into both when you see a recipe?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
I'll get there eventually, but not quite yet.
Oh, okay. So do you have any desire to go on any of these reality cooking shows? Since you wanted to go on the kids one, do you think you might want to do one Top Chef, or, well, Top Chef seems like you got to be able to cook everything.
She doesn't like me.
Oh.
Looking at her and touching it.
Do you have a problem with eating it?
No.
Oh, you just don't
the texture of touching it.
And chicken and fish and none of that stuff. No protein.
I don't touch it. I'll eat it when it's cooked. But I won't touch it before.
Right.
That's how you got to make it, because there's no meat involved.
Oh my goodness.
But I do actually have to take one culinary class.
See, from what I can see, even though you have your scale there and you said you measured things out, what I see, you are still kind of doing things by eye.
Yeah,
I would have added too much something, not enough something else. Right. And what kind of flour are you using?
This is all-purpose flour, baking powder, salt, and sugar in that mixture.
Oh, you already mixed that together. You didn't have to sift. Did you sift it before?
No, I don't have to sift this.
Oh, okay.
The recipe originally calls for pastry flour, but because it's all-purpose flour, you can use it still.
What's the difference with pastry and?
It's much thinner. It's like softer.
What do people use well, they use it for pastry, but do they like? Is there anybody dipping it for fried chicken? Like, if people using it for different things like that?
It doesn't hold for like fried things.
Oh, okay.
This is buttermilk, because these are country-style buttermilk biscuits. So.
Okay. Oh, do you need a spatula?
No.
You do this with your hand?
Yes.
Just like everybody's grandmother, great-grandmother. They didn't have all these fancy tools. Now they do.
Now they do.
My chef was saying this is the best way to do it because you can feel when it's getting fully incorporated.
Right.
And you can't mix it too much or the gluten will get developed, and you don't want gluten in biscuits.
What is the gluten and why don't I want to eat it? Why is it not included in some foods, and what is it doing?
Gluten's the protein that holds bread together. No. Yes, it's a protein, but not from an animal.
Okay.
And it's just some people's body can't break down the gluten, that's why they can't have it.
Did you use a no salt butter? Sweet butter?
Yes, unsalted butter.
Have you seen in the supermarkets there are certain kind of butters that look like they're from France or whatever? They're very expensive. I just want to try it because I want to know, why is this butter so expensive?
We use that butter in school.
Use an expensive butter in school
because it's easier to. It's not. There's less things added to it sometimes.
So that's the reason why it's more expensive.
It's just butter.
Right.
And so it's easier when we do this. It's easier to, when you roll it out, it's easier to flatten. So I have a project due.
Oh, do you really?
And I need pictures
of you having cooked. Oh, I could take a picture too. I could take a picture. Now, I've often heard people talking about the dough and handling it, just, you know, not handling it too much.
Yes. I'm at that point where I can start stamping out the
biscuits.
Yes. I just flour the table. Because with the biscuits, we don't want gluten. So when you
whatever that is.
When you handle it too much, you start developing gluten.
Now, one of the other things too, if you handle it too much, is your biscuit tough as opposed to being light and fluffy?
That's the other thing, yes, because you create gluten in it, so.
Oh, the gluten kind of toughens it up or something.
Just for biscuits and other things, it helps create elasticity. And
this is what he wanted it in square?
Yeah, it has to be in a square.
Oh,
so when I stamp it out.
Oh, okay. I forgot to offer Robin some tea. Do you want any?
Not yet, but I'd like some with my biscuit.
Okay. Okay. What is a proofing drawer?
It's just we have the proofing ovens in class, and they're large, and you just set the temperature you need the dough at, and it just, the whole drawer, the oven stays at that temperature, so the dough can proof and rise. Leave it out to proof, like you can leave it in the room, but it's just gonna take a long time, like so much longer.
Oh, okay.
Like these two pieces over here, it's not forming the braid.
Oh, I see. If you say so, I'd still cut into it with some butter.
Isolated.
Right.
Well, we all still ate it. It was still good, but it just, that was for my practical.
Were there some real failures?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And what were the failure issues? With the braid issue?
Not the braid, things, wrong ingredients were used.
Oh. Didn't
So-
everybody get the same recipe?
We all have the same recipe, but there's a bunch of metal, I don't even know what to call it. Like, it's not, they're just large containers, and they just have the labels on them. And they roll their own wheels, and it has labels on them of what's in it. So we have a huge, maybe about this, like this wide, of just sugar. And then there's just pastry flour, and then there's just bread flour.
Wow. That has to be a dream to walk into. So now these biscuits are almost 3/4 inch thick.
They're
So they're gonna rise up.
yes.
Wow. And what happens to the bread afterward? Does everybody eat?
So my class, there's a dining. We have a dining room. We have 3 dining rooms, one on each floor of the building. And so the culinary kids prepare the meal,
Oh,
and then so we'll provide the bread for it. So they'll come down and get the baguettes from us, and then.
so it's consumed by the
Yeah.
other students.
So another class that has to be taken by the culinary students, it's dining. So they come,
Okay.
they're the wait staff, so they learn how to do all the stuff that the waiters do in the restaurants. They learn
Okay.
that. But they have a class that I want to take, the mixology class.
Yeah. So now we're ready to put this in the freezer. So you're gonna brush it.
With the egg, so it can get the golden brown color.
Oh, okay. See, that's what I'm thinking you do with a pretzel, what you're saying now. But you're not gonna dip a biscuit in lye.
No, not this time.
And how long do we do that for?
Just till it's melted, and then you add it would be 2 parts butter to 1 part honey.
Okay. At this point, it's not like specific to 10 minutes. It's when they're kind of brown.
Yes.
And you know they're done.
We're just, the 10-minute is just the initial marker.
Right.
And then you just wait and see when it's done. Pull it off.
Oh my gosh, look how beautiful.
And then butter it. Here, I touched it.